Hello students, how are you all today? This is Ashar Khan, your SST teacher from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group Kota, and I welcome you all to our video lecture. So students, I hope you are all well and fine at your home, and now we'll begin our chapter of civics, okay? So open your civics book. We are starting chapter number 9 of our civics book, that is urban livelihoods. Students, I have already told you in our earlier civics class what does this word here means, livelihoods. Livelihoods means something, a job which is done to earn money, right? We all need money to survive, and livelihood is that occupation which we do to earn money. In our previous chapter, students, we learnt about rural livelihoods. As you all know that in that chapter we learnt about occupations which are done in village, correct? Now in this chapter we are going to learn about occupations and livelihoods which are undertaken in the urban areas, that is the city, alright. So please open your book on page number 76, open your civics book on page number 76 so that we may begin this chapter, alright. So here are the topics that we are going to cover in the chapter: working on the street, in the market, in the factory, and in the office area. These are some of the topics that we are gonna learn, okay? First, a quick introduction. We all live in a city, that is Kota. We know that there are certain amount of jobs here, alright? People do a lot of other kind of works to earn money. Some people work in streets, some people work in factories, some people work in markets, alright, and offices, okay? So, how do they work? Okay, what are their working conditions? We will see about them in this chapter. One more, there is a small introduction given here on page number 77 that there are more than 5,000 towns and 27 big cities in India. Big cities like Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, that you all know, right? So we are going to learn in this chapter about the people who work in those cities, okay? And that's why the chapter is called Urban Livelihoods, means work done in the city. So let us begin. Like our earlier chapter, this chapter is also narrated in the form of a story. So it will be very interesting for us to learn. Let us start. Our first topic, working on the street. This is the city where my cousin lives. Students, please keep pencil ready, alright? This is the city where my cousin lives. I have been here only a few times. It is very big. Once when I came here, my cousin took me around. We left the house early in the morning. As we turned the corner onto the main street, we saw that it was already buzzing with activity. Now the narrator of the story is going to visit a city, okay? Narrator is visiting a city. Now, the vegetable vendor was busy arranging tomatoes, carrots and cucumbers in baskets at her stall so that people could see what she had to sell. Next to her stall was a lovely colorful one that sold all kinds of flowers. So the narrator is going around in the city and she is noticing that there are different people, different kinds of people who are doing different kinds of work. For example, she saw a greengrocer, that is a vegetable vendor, a person who was selling vegetables. Then she saw a person who was selling flowers, okay? We bought a red rose and a yellow rose. On the pavement opposite, we saw a person selling newspaper. Now see, there's another person who is also working in the street selling newspaper, okay? Everybody wanted to read the news. Buses whizzed past and there were auto rickshaws filled with school children. Nearby under a tree, a cobbler sat taking his tools and materials out of a small tin box. Next to him, the roadside barber had begun his work. He already had a customer who wanted an early morning shave. So see, you must be very familiar with this type of scenario because we see this daily in our city, alright? We see buses, we see auto rickshaws in which school children are going to schools, okay? Newspaper vendors selling newspaper, we see green vendors, okay? Vegetable vendors, greengrocers, who all open their shops in the morning, correct? Now, a little way down the road, a woman was pushing along a cart with all kinds of plastic bottles, boxes, hairpins, clips. Now there is another woman who is pushing a cart, okay? You all know what a cart is. And on that cart, there were all kinds of plastic boxes, hairpins, clips, bottles. In it, while another person on a cycle trolley was carrying vegetables to sell to people in their houses. Now there was another person who was carrying all the vegetables in a cycle trolley so that he can go around in the streets and sell vegetables directly to the people. We came to a place where rickshaws were standing in a row waiting for customer. Now there is a rickshaw stand as well. You all know this, that there are certain places in a city which are rickshaw stand. People can go there. There are rickshaws waiting for there. Okay, if you want to go somewhere, you can go and hire that rickshaw and they will take you to that place for a desired fare. We decided to take one to the market, which was about 2 kilometers down the road. So up until now, what we have learned so far, students, that there is a city, the narrator is going around and she is looking at all the people who are conducting their daily work. Someone is selling vegetables, someone is selling flowers, newspaper and other stuff. Alright, some people who are selling their services like barber and cobblers. Now there is a small story given here which is of Bachchu Manjhi, a cycle rickshaw puller. Okay, please read this. I come from a village in Bihar where I worked as a mason. Okay, what is a mason? A stone worker. Okay, some person who works in a factory or construction site. My wife and 3 children live in the village. Now this is coming from a worker, a cycle rickshaw puller. The name is Bachchu Manjhi, who is saying that he used to live in Bihar where he used to work as a mason, and his wife and 3 children still live in the village. We don't own land. In the village, I did not get masonry work regularly. The income that I earned was not enough for our family. Students, if you remember, in our previous topic, we learnt about what we call them landless laborer, correct? We learnt about landless laborer, people who do not have their own land and they work for someone else's land. Now what happens when they don't even get work on someone else's land? Okay, if a villager who doesn't own any land, okay, he has to work on someone else's land, correct? But if he does not get any work, he will migrate to the city. What he will do? I told you that we will discuss this topic in our next civics chapter, and here we are discussing this. What is migrate, or the verb migration? It means when people move on from rural to urban areas. Why? In search of work. When people cannot find work in rural areas, they will go to the city in search of work. Same thing happened with this cycle rickshaw puller Bachchu Manjhi. Okay, he's saying that he used to live in a village, but they don't own any land. Okay, and the income that he was earning, the money that he was earning was not enough for his family. After I reached this city, now he's saying that he reached a city. I bought an old cycle rickshaw and paid for it in installments. He bought an old rickshaw, okay, and he paid it in installments, and that was many years ago. I come to the bus stop every morning. Now this, what is he saying? That he comes to the bus stop every morning and take the customers wherever they want to go. I work till 8:30 in the evening. He works till 8:30 in the evening. I take rides of up to 6 kilometers in the surrounding area. He is saying that he goes around in the 6 kilometer area. Each customer gives me rupees 5 to 10 per trip depending on the distance. And how much he earns per customer? Rupees 5 to 10. Okay, when I'm ill, I can't do this work, so on those days I don't earn anything. Now on certain days when Bachchu Manjhi is ill and he cannot pull the rickshaw, he doesn't earn anything. I stay with my friends in a rented room. They work in a nearby factory. Now he is staying in a rented room, okay? That means he doesn't own the room, it's on rent. And his friends work in a factory. I earn between rupees 80 to 100 every day. Okay, he earns only rupees 80 to 100 per day, out of which I spend rupees 50 to 60 on food and rent. He earns 80 to 100 rupees, and out of that 50 to 60 rupees gone on paying for food and rent for the room. The rest I save for my family. I visit my village 2 or 3 times a year to see my family. Though my family survives on the money I send, my wife also earns from agricultural work that she gets once in a while. Although he is saying that the money is alright for his family, his wife also has to work. Okay. Now, carrying on with our earlier story. So you see students, like Bachchu Manjhi, a large number of people in the city work on the streets. There are a lot of workers who has to work on the street. Why? Because there is no work in other areas. In a survey of Ahmedabad city, it was found that 12% of all the workers in the city were people working on the street. 12% of all the workers, that's a significant amount. They were actually doing nothing but working on the street. Okay. So students, write your first internal question. On page number 79, write your first internal question, that is, okay, write it here above What was found in a survey of Ahmedabad city? Okay, what was found in a survey of Ahmedabad city? Okay, the spelling of Ahmedabad is also given here in the first paragraph. Don't get confused, write it properly. Now, the answer is third line of the first paragraph. Okay, third line of the first para. In a survey of Ahmedabad city, it was found that 12% of all the workers in the city were people working on the street. All right, so this was the first internal question and its answer. They sometimes sell things or repair them or provide a service. Now, they work on their own. Now, the people on the street, we are talking about the people who are working on the street, correct? Now, these are the people who work on their own. They are not employed by anyone and therefore have to organize their own work. No, they don't have any boss who is paying them for doing their work. Okay, the street vendors, you see some people who sell you fruits and vegetables, flowers and other items. They don't have any boss. They are working on their own. Okay, they have to manage it, organize it on their own. They have to plan how much to purchase as well as where and how to set up their shops. Their shops are usually temporary structures. Their shops are usually temporary. Sometimes just some boards or papers spread over discarded boxes or maybe a canvas sheet hung up on a few poles. This you must have seen, all right? What happens? People who sell on the while sitting on the street, they just have some, plastic tarp lying on the ground or some cardboard box, and for shelter they have another plastic tarp on which is connected with the poles. They may also use their own carts. Some people use their own carts, okay, or simply a plastic sheet spread on the pavement. They can be asked to dismantle their shops at any time by the police. Underline this. These people who are working on the street, they can be asked to dismantle their shop. Dismantle means take apart, okay, their shop at any time by the police. The police can come at any time and they will yell at them. Why? Because they are working on the street, which is a pathway to walk, okay. They have no security. There are certain parts of the city where these hawkers are not allowed to enter. Now, they have no security. Anytime their business can collapse. Supposedly, if a person sets up a cart, okay, and nobody comes to purchase his or her things on that day, what happens? He will suffer loss. He will not earn anything on that day, okay. And there are certain parts of the city as well where hawkers are not allowed to enter. What are hawkers? People who go around selling their stuff are called hawkers. Now, vendors sell things that are often prepared at home by their families who purchase, clean, sort and make them ready to sell. Okay? For example, those who sell food or snacks on the street prepare most of these at home. You must have seen a lot of street food stalls, correct? People who sell chow mein, burgers and momos. Where do you think they make this? They make these things at home and then they carry it in their cart to the market to sell, okay? Their families usually help them as well. There's a picture of a cart given here in this page. Now, there are almost 1 crore street vendors in the country working in urban areas. If we combine all the workers of the cities, there are more than 1 crore. Street vending was still recently looked upon only as an obstruction to traffic and to people walking. Underline this, that usually people look at street vending as an obstruction to traffic and to people who have to walk on the pavement and streets, okay? But however, with the effort of many organizations, it is now recognized as a general benefit and as a right of people to earn their livelihood. Earlier, the government or the people did not support this kind of vendors. Why? Because it obstructs traffic. If someone is if someone is pushing their cart in the middle of a road or a street, the traffic will get obstructed. But then what happens? The government recognizes this as the right of people to earn their livelihood, okay? The government is thinking about modifying the law that bans street vendors so that they have a place to work and that there is also a free flow of traffic in people. So what we have done is we have set up zones where people can set up their shops, okay, and other customers can go to those shops and purchase, okay. Hawking zones have been suggested for towns and cities. It has also been suggested that mobile vendors should be allowed to move around freely. There is also a demand that mobile vendors, people who go pushing their carts around, they should be allowed to move around freely. Hawkers need to be part of committees that are set up to take these and other decisions relating to them. Hawkers have also made their own committees which take decisions regarding all the decisions, okay. Now, so this was the people who used to work in the street, okay. Now we are coming to the people who work in the market, who set up their own shops. So now our next topic is in the market. Now we are going to learn about livelihoods which are done in market areas. So first let us read, then we will see some more images. Now, when we reached the market, the shops were just beginning to open. So the narrator has now reached a market and the shops were now opening. But the place was already crowded because of the festival season. Underline this, students. Now what kind of shops you will see in a market? There were rows and rows of shops selling sweets, toys, clothes, footwear, utensils, electronic goods, etc. There was a dentist clinic also at one end. So you see there are a lot of shops in a market area. As you can see, shops who sell toys, who sells utensils, electronic items, and so on. My cousin had an appointment with the dentist. We went there first so that we would not miss our turn. We had to wait for a while in a room before she was called inside. The dentist examined her and asked her to come back the following day to get a cavity in her tooth filled. My cousin was scared because she thought the process would be painful and was upset that she had allowed her teeth to go bad. Now from the dental clinic, she took me to a new garment showroom, okay, because I wanted to buy some ready-made clothes. The showroom had 3 floors. Each floor had different types of clothes. We went to the 3rd floor where clothes for girls were kept. Now, from the market area, now they have entered into a ready-made garment showroom, okay, where ready-made clothes are purchased. Now, let us see. We are going to learn about the story of Harpreet and Vandana, who are business person. Let us see what business they do. My father and uncle worked in a small shop. During festival times and on Sundays, my mother and I helped them in the shop. I started working there only after I completed my college. Who is saying this? Harpreet is saying that when she was younger, her father and mother used to have a small shop and she also started working there when she completed her college. We opened this showroom some years ago. I'm a dress designer. Our business has changed. Now, they have opened a showroom. From a small shop, they have opened a big showroom. And how many stories are there? There are 3 stories, 3 floors, okay? So you see, now she's saying our business has changed. She used to design dress, but these days, people prefer to buy ready-made clothes. Underline this, okay? These days, people prefer to buy ready-made clothes rather than have them stitched. Earlier, when you needed clothes, you used to go to a tailor, give him or her some cloth, and then that person will take your measurements and he will stitch you your perfectly garmented, perfectly made clothes. But now, people are not into that. They just want to buy ready-made clothes, okay? The trend these days is for ready-made garments. You also need an attractive display for them, and this is spoken by Vandana. So you see, you must have seen this as well. The shops around our city which sell clothes, they have a very attractive display of mannequins who are wearing very fashionable clothes, so that people will be attracted towards that shop. They will enter, and hence their business will bloom. For our showroom, we buy things from different places. We buy most of the materials from Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Ludhiana and Tripura. Some materials also come from Noida and Gurgaon, towns near Delhi. We get some dress items from foreign countries too. So Harpreet and Vandana, they have a lot of different types of clothes in their showroom. See, the clothes are coming in from all other cities as well. There are several things we need to do to run this showroom properly. Now there are certain things you need. Okay, if you want to run a proper shop, a proper showroom in the market, okay, underline from here, we advertise in various newspapers, cinema theaters, television and radio channel. A proper part of running a business is advertising. That means if you have opened a shop, how will other people know that you have opened a shop? You will send advertisement in various newspaper, radios and television. Currently, this building is rented, but soon we plan to buy it. Harpreet is saying that this building in which we are running our showroom is rented, but soon we will have enough money that we will be able to buy it, okay? Ever since this market has become the main market for people living in the surrounding apartments, our business has grown. Now they are saying that all the people who live in the surrounding apartment of this area come to our shop for clothes. Why? Because it is very near. We have been able to buy a car and book a flat in an apartment complex nearby. So, because of the successful running of the showroom, they have been able to buy a car and they have also booked a flat in an apartment complex. Like Harpreet and Vanna, there are many people who own shops in various markets of the city. So like Harpreet and Vanna own a ready-made garment showroom, there are other people who also own different kinds of offices and shops in the market. Okay. There is a municipal corporation that we learnt about. Now, how is municipal corporation important for markets? We will see now. Okay. These shops may be small or large and they sell different things. Now the shops can be small or large and they sell different things. Some shops sell clothes, some shop will send you electronic items like mobile and earphones. Okay. Most business person manage their own shops or business. They are not employed by anyone, but they do employ a large number of other workers as supervisors and helpers. Now people who own large shops, you must have seen that they are the employee. Okay. But they do employ a number of other workers, and they employ a number of other workers to work in their shops. These are permanent shops that are given a license to do business by the municipal corporation. This is your second internal question, student. Write the second internal question on page number 81. What is essential for permanent shop? If you want to set up a permanent shop, what will you need? Okay. Question number 2 on page number 81, what is essential for permanent shop? Question mark. Okay. Mark the answer from here, right hand side paragraph, first line. License to do business by the municipal corporation. If someone wants to set up a permanent shop, they will require license which is given by the municipal corporation of that big city. We already know that municipal corporation is the executive, is the government of that city. Okay. Now the municipal corporation also decides on which day of the week the market has to remain closed. For example, the shops in the above market are closed on Wednesdays. This market also has small offices and shops that provide services such as banks, courier services and others. So you see, this is what this happens in a market area where there are a lot of shops who sell different commodities, and to set up permanent shops you require the license which is given by the municipal corporation of your city. Now our next topic is, students, in the factory workshop area. Now this narrator of the story will reach an area where there are factories. So up until now we have learnt about people who work on the streets, people who work in markets, who set up shops in market. Now we are going to learn about people who work in a factory. Okay. I wanted to have some zari work done on one of my dresses which I needed for a special occasion. My cousin said that she knew Nirmala who works in a garment factory. Now they are going to meet a person who works in a factory which makes clothes. Okay. Nirmala's neighbors do zari work and embroidery. So we caught a bus and headed towards the factory area. So they caught a bus and they went towards the factory area. The bus was really crowded. There were a lot of people in the bus and it was really crowded. At every stop, more and more people got on and hardly anyone seemed to get off. People were pushing others to make more space for themselves. My cousin guided me to a corner so that we would not get squashed. I wondered how people travel like this every day. Okay, so the bus is very crowded and the narrator is wondering how people travel like this every day because there were a lot of people on the bus. As the bus entered the factory area, people started getting off. We also got off soon at a crossing. What a relief that was. So all these people who started getting off in the factory area, these were the factory workers who were taking bus to go to their factory. Now, see where they got off, what was happening. There were a large number of people sitting on railings or in groups at the crossing. Now, there were a lot of people who were just sitting on the road and the crossing. They seemed to be waiting for someone. Some groups had people on scooters standing by and talking with them. My cousin explained that this place was called Labor Chowk. Okay? My cousin explained that all the people who are sitting here, okay, this place is called Labor Chowk. These were daily wage laborers who work as helpers to masons. They dig at construction site, lift loads or unload trucks in the market. Please underline this. Okay. Last third line, daily wage laborers who work as helpers to masons. They dig at construction sites, lift loads or unload trucks in the market. They also dig pipelines and telephone cables and also build road. Now these are the people who are laborers. Okay, we learned about people who migrated from rural area to city area for work. So this is the kind of work they do. They construct buildings, roads, they dig roads for pipelines. Okay, there are thousands of such casual workers in the city, and there are a lot of workers in a city. Okay, now we entered the factory area to find it full of small workshops. They seemed to be the endless rows of them. In one section we saw people working in a small room on sewing machines where clothes was being stitched. One person operated one sewing machine. Clothes that had been stitched were stacked on one side of the room. Now they have entered into a factory, and what they see, there are rows of people who are working on sewing machines. Okay, and one person had one sewing machine, and the clothes that were stitched were stacked on one side of the room. We located Nirmala in the stitching unit. She was happy to meet my cousin and promised to get zari work done on my dress. Nirmala works as a tailor in an export garment unit. Please underline this, that what is Nirmala's job? That she works as a tailor where? In an export garment factory, in export garment unit. That means what her work is, she makes clothes and the factory exports that cloth. The factory sells the clothes to some other vendors and market persons like Harpreet and Vandana. The factory where she works makes summer clothes for people in a foreign country like USA, UK, Germany and the Netherlands. Okay? Workers like Nirmala have to work very long hours in the months from December to April. Now these are the working conditions. In what kind of condition Nirmala is working? A factory worker. Okay? So the working hours are very long. She has to work from 9 AM and finishes only by 10 PM. Okay? More than 13 hours she is giving. Sometimes even later, and sometimes she even goes late at home. She works for 6 days a week. At times when the work needs to be done urgently, she works on Sundays too. Nirmala is paid rupees 80 a day for 8 hours and rupees 40 extra for working late. She is paid rupees 80 per day for working 8 hours and extra 40 rupees for working overtime. By June, the work is over and the factory reduces its staff. Now what happens? June, in the month of June, the factory reduces its staff. Nirmala will also be asked to leave. She will be left. She will be asked to leave by the factory. For about 3 or 4 months in the year, there is no work for her. And for that 3 to 4 months, she will be unemployed. Most workers like Nirmala are employed on what is known as casual basis. Underline this, that what is casual basis? That these workers are employed for some amount of time. Okay, and after the work is done, the factory lays them off. They are required to come and when the employer needs them. They are employed when the employer gets large orders or during certain seasons. At other times of the year, they have to find some other work. So when the factory gets a very large order, okay, supposedly a factory has to overcome a very large amount of order. So they will hire all the workers, and then when that order is done, they will lay off all the workers. And when they are unemployed, they will have to find some other work to do. Jobs like Nirmala's are not permanent. Underline this, that Nirmala's job is not permanent. Why? If workers complain about their pay or working condition, they are asked to leave. If Nirmala complains that I'm working too much, she will be asked to leave. There is no job security or protection if there is ill treatment. They are also expected to work very long hours. For example, in the cloth mill units, the workers work on day and night shift, with each shift lasting 12 hours. Sometimes workers also work in day shift and night shift. For example, Nirmala is working from 9 AM to 10 PM. Then after when she leaves, another person will come who is working in the night shift, and that person will work from night to morning. So the factory keeps running the entire time. Okay. So you see, in factory, daily wage laborers work as helpers. They work at construction sites, they lift load, they unload trucks in markets, dig pipelines and telephone cables, and they also build road. You can see the images here on the board of factory workers. Okay. Now what happens after the work is done? They will be laid off. They will have to go find work somewhere else. Their job is not permanent. Okay, keep this in mind, that the job of a factory worker, people who work in factory and workshop, it is not permanent. They can be asked to leave at any time. See, now we have thousands of such workers in a city. These are the works which are done in a factory. Many workshops of different goods in factory Okay, some factories, there are large and medium sized factories, organized, small factory which are not organized. What is organized and not non-organized factory? We will learn in a minute. Okay, see now, most workers work in a factory on casual basis. Okay, casual workers are asked to come and work when employer needs them, and whenever the need is done, they will be asked to lay off. Okay, they will be asked to leave. And see, some people who sit on pavements and crossings like labor chalk, okay, at other times of year they have to find some other work. These are casual laborers waiting at labor chalk for contractors to hire them for work on a daily wage basis. What are they waiting for? They are waiting for some person to come and hire them for whatever work it is required. It can be unloading trucks, it can be digging roads, it can be anything. Okay, and the work will only be for that day. Why? Because they are daily wage basis. Okay, they are only earning for that day. That is why their money is called wage. People who earn monthly, their money is called salary. All right. If workers complain about their pay or working condition, they are asked to leave. There is no job security. These workers can be asked to leave at any time, and they have to work in shifts as well. Okay. See, night shifts are also there. See now, we know that from rural areas, people migrate to urban areas, okay, because urban area has better infrastructure and services, more jobs are there. Okay, this is what migration means. It means when people move from rural areas to urban areas in search of job opportunities or a better living condition. So students, up until now we have learned about the people who work in the street, correct? We also learned about people who work in market, and we have also seen the condition of the factory workers. Now we are going to start with the last topic of our chapter, that is the workers or people who work in the office areas. Okay, people who work in offices. Now let us start. On page number 83, let us start this. Before we start with the office area, student, there is a particular picture here which is given. This picture is of a call center. What is a call center? You need to read this. Working in call center is a new form of employment in the big cities. Underline from here, what is a call center? A call center is a centralized office that deals with problems and questions that consumers or customers have regarding goods purchased and services like banking, ticket booking, etc. What is a call center? Supposedly you bought a washing machine and it is not functioning properly. So there will be a number given on the back of that box. Okay, you will call that number and a person will assist you. He will talk to you about how you can solve that problem by yourself. That is the job of people who work in call centers. Now this is particularly increasing in India. Foreign companies are setting their call centers in India. All right. Now let us start with our topic, that is the office area. So the narrator is now saying, my aunt Sudha works as a marketing manager. She had asked us to reach her office before 5:30 p.m. We thought we would get so late, so we took an auto rickshaw that managed to get us there just in time. So now they are visiting their aunt who works in an office. She is the marketing manager of that office. Her office was in an area surrounded by tall buildings. There were hundreds of people coming out. Some headed for the car park, while others went towards the row of buses. So a lot of people were coming out of the offices. Why? Because it was 5:30 p.m. and offices have their time fixed. Okay. My aunt is a marketing manager in a company which manufactures biscuits. The factory where the biscuits are made is outside the city. Now this is the office of that factory. Manufacturing part is done in a factory which is done outside the city. She supervises the work of 50 salespersons who travel to different parts of the city. They get orders from shopkeepers and collect payments from them. Now what her aunt does is that there are 50 people who are working beneath her. They have to go to different parts of the city to sell their product, which is biscuit. They get orders and they receive payment from them. She has divided the city into 6 regions, and once a week she meets the salesperson of each region. She checks their progress report and discusses problems they face. She has to plan the sales in the entire city and often has to work late and travel to different places. So her work is that she has to organize the sales of that company in that part of city. Okay, she has to meet different salesperson. She has to ask them what kind of problems they are facing. Okay, and sometimes she also has to work late. Now listen carefully, what are her working conditions, what benefits she gets as compared to the people who are working in factory, market or streets. See now, she gets a regular salary every month and is a permanent worker with the company. That means she gets a monthly income which is fixed and she's a permanent worker, means she cannot be fired. Okay, she can expect her job to be continued for a long period of time. Being a permanent worker, she also gets other benefits such as the following, okay? So her job is secured. No one will tell her that now we don't have any work, please go home and don't come from tomorrow, okay? She is a permanent worker. See now, other benefits she gets. Savings for old age. What is that? A part of her salary is kept in a fund with the government. Underline this, that from her salary a part is deducted and it is kept in a fund with the government. She will earn interest on these savings, and when she retires, okay, when she has reached an age where she cannot work anymore, when she retires from this job, she will get this money and then she can live on that. Now the entire money that she has collected over the years, she will get all of it plus interest from the bank, okay. Another benefit is holidays. She gets off on Sundays and national holidays. She also gets some days as annual leave. Now there are some holidays for her which are paid, okay. We learned that people who work in market, people who work in factory, sometimes if they don't work, they will not get money for those days. But since she is working in organized sector, okay, her job is fixed. She will get Sundays off and some other days as well, all the national holidays, and she will be getting paid for that. Now, she also gets medical facilities for her family. Her company pays the medical expenses up to a certain amount for her and her family member. She gets medical leave if she falls ill, and her salary is not cut if she takes this leave, okay. Even if she gets ill or some family member gets ill, the company will pay a certain amount to her for her treatment. And if she falls ill, she will not be able to come at office, and for that she will not be deducted any salary. There are many workers in the cities who work in offices, factories and government departments where they are employed as regular and permanent workers. They attend the same office or factory regularly. Their work is clearly identified, okay, and they get a regular salary. So this is the main difference between an unorganized sector and organized sector. So all the other jobs that we have seen, these three, okay, these are called unorganized sector. But since she is working in office area, this is an organized sector, because there are clear rules here for working. Your working hours are fixed. You get a lot of benefits for working in an organized sector, all right? But these benefits are not available to people who work in unorganized sector jobs. I hope you all understood this. At the end of the day, we got into my aunt's car, exhausted, but it had been so much fun, and I thought how interesting that so many people do so many different things in the cities. In a city, there are so many people like street workers, market shopkeepers, factory workers, and office managers. They do so many different amount of jobs. They have probably never met each other, but it is their work that ties them together and helps to make up city life. These people never meet each other probably, but they run the city, okay. Every work is integral for the working of the city. So student, this was it for the chapter. I hope you all learned well and marked all the internal questions. Please rewatch the video to mark the internal questions, okay. Thank you so much.